Imagine listing your house for sale, right? But you decide to leave out just the fifth photo on the website. According to the early 2026 data we're looking at today, that single missing JPEG might just cost you £80,000.
Wow. Yeah, that is a staggering number to think about.
It really is. So welcome to today's deep dive into the Benham and Reeves Property Market Archives. Our mission today is to decode the massive contradictions in the UK housing market right now. Because, we're seeing intense scarcity somehow colliding with, well, unexpected opportunity.
Yeah, it's a completely fascinating data set. I mean, if you're expecting clean, binary math where supply drops and prices simply go up, you will be surprised.
Right, because it's never that simple.
Exactly. What we actually have is a market being dictated by shifting laws, hyperlocal global politics, and honestly, some genuinely bizarre human behaviors.
Okay, let's unpack this, starting with the sheer lack of places to live.
hmm
Right now, fewer than 3% of London's private rental homes are actually available to tenants. I mean, 3%.
It is a severe bottleneck, yeah. And to understand why, we just need to look at the timing of the new Renters' Rights Act.
Right, which is a huge factor right now.
Completely. And without getting into the politics of whether the legislation is good or bad, the market reaction itself is undeniable. The act introduces stricter limits on evictions and new compliance rules.
So landlords are getting cold feet?
Well, basically, yes. We're seeing landlords either pulling back on new listings or just exiting the market entirely while they wait to see how it all plays out.
But here's the twist for you. You'd assume that kind of scarcity would make affordability absolutely tank.
You would, yeah.
But because of recent strong wage growth, the average London renter is actually spending 50% of their income on rent right now, which is actually down from 2024.
That's a really crucial detail.
And add to that, almost 60% of current London listings boast outdoor space. I mean, if you've ever endlessly scrolled through property apps looking for a sunny garden, you're looking at the exact dynamic that's locking up the 2026 market.
Exactly. Because when tenants finally secure a property they can afford, and especially one with a coveted garden, they simply stop moving.
They hold on to it for dear life.
Exactly.
hmm
High satisfaction, plus a lack of alternative options, means the rental market is effectively gridlocked right now.
So what does this all mean? It's basically a game of musical chairs where everyone lands on a chair they like and just flat out refuses to stand up again. Or like a Monopoly game where you refuse to roll the dice.
That's a perfect way to look at it.
Hmm.
And, if the rental market is effectively frozen by this high satisfaction and scarcity, the buying market is completely geographically scattered.
Right, it's a totally different story.
It really is. Over the last 3 quarters, the UK saw steady growth, but the north-south divide is stark. Northern regions and Scotland are seeing annual price growth of up to 11%.
Wow, 11%. Meanwhile, down in England, January sales data showed 37% of homes actually reduced their asking prices.
Yeah, though it looks like that bargain window is rapidly closing as conditions strengthen.
Right. But what I find really jarring is what happens when you zoom in on specific London boroughs. National macroeconomics just go completely out the window.
Oh, absolutely. If we connect this to the bigger picture, you see how hyper-local the property market really is. Take Tower Hamlets, for instance.
Okay, what's happening there?
Well, there's been a massive spike in Chinese homeownership there. It's directly linked to the UK preparing to approve China's new London mega embassy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and again, looking purely at the math and not the diplomacy here, buyers are essentially positioning themselves near a massive future hub of economic activity.
That makes sense. And then you have prime London, places
Yep.
like Chiswick and Regent's Park. Buyer demand there climbed 1.2% in Q4.
Right.
Which is crazy because they are completely ignoring the looming threats of a new mansion tax, which would heavily penalize higher value properties. I just don't get how a localized geopolitical event or a pending wealth tax doesn't drag down the whole borough's trends.
Well, it's because property isn't just a financial asset. I mean, buyers in prime London often have the capital to absorb those potential tax hits without blinking.
Ah, so it doesn't even faze them.
Exactly. They are buying into a lifestyle and a very specific neighborhood, which entirely insulates those micro markets from national averages.
Which brings us back to that £80,000 JPEG I mentioned earlier. Because beyond the macroeconomics and the wealth taxes, this data reveals a deeply human, almost irrational side to how we value property.
Right, and what's fascinating here is how much perceived value dictates market reality.
It's wild. Homes in what are considered romantic London locations carry a staggering 64% price premium, just for the vibe.
Which is incredible.
Yeah, but here's where it gets really interesting. Homes listed with 4 or fewer photos are priced almost £80,000 lower on average than those with 5 or more images. Does adding a fifth photo magically generate 80 grand in literal brick and mortar value?
Well, no, I mean, this raises an important question about causality versus correlation, right? It's highly unlikely a single photo adds that kind of structural value.
Right, that would be ridiculous.
Exactly. What's more likely is that sellers who invest in comprehensive marketing like 5 or more high-quality photos are also the ones presenting higher-tier properties and pricing them aggressively.
Makes sense.
But it does prove that how a property is presented anchors a buyer's psychological expectation of its worth.
So, for everyone trying to make sense of the early 2026 market, it is severely squeezed but surprisingly resilient.
Definitely.
It's heavily localized, totally detached from national averages in key boroughs, and ultimately swayed by surprisingly simple things like securing a good garden, paying a premium for a romantic postcode, or judging a house by its photography.
It completely shatters the assumption that real estate is just a cold, hard numbers game.
It really does. If a single extra photograph or a neighborhood's romantic reputation can swing property values by tens of thousands of pounds, you have to ask yourself a question. How much of the housing market is actually based on hard structural economics and how much of it is just pure human psychology?